Howdy folks, I'm Peppy Pink Edge Sulphur, prettily parading through picturesque parks.
I'm Amber.
And here are more picturesque parks for us to parade through. And that's the reason why we're doing it, is because we're going to be getting married today. Everyone is getting married, all at once. Everyone, all at once, everywhere.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and I'm officiating. So let's get
Are you
started.
now?
Oh yes, mass wedding. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Let My Father Officiate My Wedding? My father has been a reverend for 30 years. He and my mother are still married and they have 2 children. My sister and I. Neither my sister or I have a good relationship with my parents. They weren't downright physically abusive. Both of them are definitely narcissists, and some things that they did left deep psychological scars that are still with me to this day. It has always been a running joke for my parents that my dad would perform our wedding ceremonies and christen our children. This was standard operating procedure for my sister's wedding and for the birth of her child. This, however, is not something that I want. I can't have my father preach to me and my husband-to-be about love when he has rarely shown it to me throughout my childhood. Well, so a few weeks back, my fiancée and I were having a dinner with them, and we were discussing plans for our future. My dad said something along the lines of, I wonder what message I should give at your ceremony. And I shot him down immediately, saying that I did not want him to perform the ceremony. He got mad and asked me to explain myself, almost like I had told him that I had just killed someone. I told him that I still wanted him to walk me down the aisle, which made him blow up even more. I finally said that he could choose between being my father or being my pastor. That was the end of the conversation and the end of the dinner. Now he is demanding that I apologize because it's his right as my father to perform the ceremony. He's threatening not to pay for my wedding and saying that if he doesn't perform the ceremony, then he and my mother won't be attending. I'm considering cutting off all contact and eloping, but I'm scared that I would miss them when the big day comes. Am I the jerk? Edit, someone asked me, and we have had this discussion before dinner. It was part of a larger discussion that we've had after my sister's wedding, where she said that she had basically been forced into him performing the ceremony, threatening to cut her off and not paying for the wedding. This is his go-to. Edit 2. Sorry, I'm bad at this. I am not planning on asking him to pay for the wedding. My fiancé and I both want a small wedding and have seriously discussed eloping before this happened. So he is down with running away and just letting them know afterwards. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. This is your wedding, and your father has no right to officiate your wedding. Like, just because he had a hand in your procreation just because he had a hand in bringing you into the world does not mean that he is entitled to do everything he wants. Like, you're not his little doll that he now can play happy wedding with.
So what I think is really interesting and really showing is that as a minister, as a pastor, he should be exuding love and patience, right? And patience and love are not an angry reaction and then trying to hold something over someone's head. So I think he's actually failing at his own religion here.
Oh, yeah.
Because, he should be being kind, gentle, and loving towards his daughter, not seeking revenge on her for not wanting him to officiate.
Well, that's it. He's immediately going to, trying to pull all these strings, well, I won't pay for your wedding. Well, your mother and I won't come. Trying to hold OP hostage so he can get what he wants. And I think, like you said, that shows that he is not performing his religion properly. He is not following, Jesus' example. And so, yeah, he is everything you don't want in a minister in that respect.
Yeah. And so I feel really bad for OP here because on one hand, it does sound like she loves her father. And, it's perfectly understandable to love somebody even if they don't necessarily treat you well, right? It's an unfortunate dynamic of relationships sometimes, but that isn't something that you can hold against somebody, right? You can't choose how you feel about people sometimes, right? But OP is between a rock and a hard place. They really don't want their dad officiating their wedding. They have very good reasons for that. And the father doesn't want to accept those reasons. And, that's his problem. And I think that if OP wants to elope, then that might be the best thing in this situation, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I know that it's going to be hard. And like, yeah, you might feel some disappointment in the moment that they're not there. But if you go through with this, like, he's going to then use the same blackmail techniques to christen your children
Yeah.
and all his other stuff. And like, you do not want to be beholden to that. So this could be like choosing to have a wedding, either an elopement or a small ceremony. You know, you can still like invite him, and if he and his mom, your mom, choose not to attend, then like that's on them.
Yeah.
But don't cave to their blackmail because it will not stop.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like I don't feel like this is going to stop, and I feel like this is going to be something that they'll continue to do, because as long as he has leverage, he's going to use that leverage to control people, because that's the kind of person he is. So again, I feel bad for OP, but I think they're doing the right thing by putting their foot down.
Yeah, and it might be best, like, if he starts trying to guilt trip you, to just go no contact for a bit, you know, and let him, you know, blow off steam on his own.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I be a jerk if I told my fiance that I didn't want her to wear excessive makeup at our wedding? And Amber wants to read this one.
I'm a 21-year-old male, my fiance is a 20-year-old female, and we are getting married later this fall, and we're super excited now. Now, I know from the title everyone is going to want to jump immediately to I'm the jerk, but I just ask to be heard first. I think my fiance is completely and utterly beautiful, naturally or with makeup. I know makeup makes her feel pretty. She always does her eyeliner and mascara, you know, a little subtle thing, and I love it. I've never been the type of person who likes too much makeup on a girl. I know that seems shallow, but I think it's a turnoff if I can look at someone and easily notice their excessive blush, or that their face looks super chalky or powdery, or even their skin tone seems too light from concealer. Now, my fiance isn't the type of person to wear excessive makeup at all, and it's one of the many, many things I love about her. I think she's naturally gorgeous, truly I do, and I want her to feel pretty. I worship her every day, constantly, reminding her of how beautiful she is at every opportunity. I want her to feel wanted and loved and desired. She deserves it, and she makes me feel the same. I just feel that concealer on her makes her skin seem unnatural in a way. I can't exactly put my finger on it, like too light and smooth, and with some added makeup, it's not my favorite. I know she isn't exactly doing it for me, and I want her to feel pretty. Her friends have done her makeup before and have been kind of excessive, and I honestly didn't like the look, but she seemed to have, and so I was a little more reserved on my opinion. I still told her I found her beautiful, but I expressed how I'm just not the biggest fan of a lot of makeup. She's aware of this, and when she went dress shopping, she put on some concealer along with her usual makeup with a little extra. I commented on it at once, but left it at that, and she said how she will have makeup on the day of, so she wanted a little bit better of a visual of how she'll look. That kind of had me thinking of how she'll do her makeup then. I know she'll make a gorgeous bride, of that I have no doubt, but I know if she has excessive makeup on, it'll distract me from her look, and in a way, I wouldn't be able to enjoy the moment, for lack of better words. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, and that definitely isn't how I mean it, but I can't find the actual words to describe what I mean. The friend she's going to have help with her makeup on the big day is the same friend who did that look for her previously. So Reddit, am I the jerk for feeling this way, and would I be the jerk if I voiced my feelings/concern?
All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, OP, you would be the jerk. Like, it's one thing to have feelings, but there are some times when we feel things and we don't say them, you know? The way your bride-to-be wants to look on the wedding day is really her decision, and it's her opinion that should matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm falling here too. I mean, I think the most simple and straightforward solution to this problem is that if this is going to be such a big deal breaker for OP, maybe they need to find a different partner, right? I mean, I hate to be flippant like that, but there does feel here like there are some threads of control.
Yeah.
And if you ever get to the point where you're feeling like you need to control your partner, that's not a good place to be, right? And so I think that weddings can be a really big and stressful thing. And I understand him wanting her to have her natural beauty shine through, and that they kind of already work well with their dynamic. But this is not only OP's wedding, but his partner's wedding too. And if she wants a certain aesthetic, then I mean, this isn't something that OP should rain on or make her self-conscious about, right?
Right. Well, and his idea of excessive makeup too. Although I think he might be confused. He keeps saying concealer, which should be concealer. Like you're just hiding blemishes. That's really not
Yeah,
excessive at all. I think he might mean foundation.
I think he does mean foundation
Um,
there.
but even that, like, okay, so she puts on a little foundation. Like, yeah, it does change your face appearance a little bit. But I personally find that, like, when I have foundation on, because it kind of hides my acne scars and blemishes, that, like, it feels more, like, smooth and even and looks better. It photographs better. And, like, it really comes down to personal preference. And, like, I wore foundation at our wedding. And Brian wasn't like, oh, how could you wear foundation? You're ruining your natural beauty. Like, I didn't have a very natural look. I had like bold red lips and everything. So,
Well, again, I think this is a matter of preference. People, it may not be his preference, but he should be happy that his partner feels happy and feels the way they want to during their wedding, right?
well, and that's the thing too. Like, if this is like one of the happiest days of your life, like, how could you be distracted by something as small as your partner having some foundation or concealer on?
Yeah.
Like, if that's like you're standing up there with the person who you supposedly love more than anything, and you're like staring at their face and thinking, wow, I wish they didn't have foundation on, like, that tells me there's something wrong with this dynamic.
Yeah, and that's the thing that concerns me here. So I think that OP probably needs to go into individual therapy, start working on maybe some control issues and talking about why this bothers them so much. Because, I mean, it just doesn't seem to be. This should be one of those things of like, oh, it makes her feel beautiful, so I just want to kind of let her do her own thing, right? Not control everything. But let me know what you folks think. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to help fund my sister's wedding even though I have the money? I'm a 32-year-old male and I have a younger sister, Mia, a 28-year-old female, who's getting married in September. For some context, we were close as kids, but in our adult lives, we have taken very different paths. I've always been the planner type, a steady job, married, 2 small kids, 3 and 1, and working towards buying a bigger house. Mia is a lot more spontaneous. She switched jobs a few times and had a few finding herself phases, and tends to lean on the family for support when things don't go as planned. Well, anyway, she's planning a fairly big wedding. Not ridiculously extravagant, but definitely pushing their budget. A couple of weeks ago, she called me in a panic because her fiance's parents pulled out of paying for their part of the reception venue, which apparently leaves them about $4,500 short. She asked if I could help out with just $4,000 and framed it as I would be saving the big day. To be honest, I have been setting aside some extra money. With a bit of luck, earlier this month, we managed to put away a chunk into our house saving fund. I didn't tell anyone, but that little cushion gave us a little bit of breathing room that we hadn't had for a little while. My wife and agreed that it's staying put for our furniture, either towards a house or emergency expenses. I told Mia that I couldn't help, that we were trying to be responsible and stick to our own long-term plans. She didn't say much at the time, but since then she's made a few digs in the family group chat, saying things like, some people are sitting on thousands while I'm over here about to get married in a public park. Then my mom got involved and said that I should help out just this once because it's what family does. My dad thinks that I'm doing the right thing, but says that he's staying out of it. Now there's this weird tension in the family, and my wife is annoyed because she feels like we're being guilted for being financially stable. I don't want to burn bridges, but I also don't want to get sucked into someone else's poor planning just because I had a lucky break. Am I the jerk for saying no? All right, folks, what do you think?
Oh, the horrors of getting married in a public park. Um, seriously, yeah, OP, you're 100% not in the wrong there. I think your sister's demands are unreasonable. If your mom wants to finance this portion of your sister's wedding, she is welcome to. She can take the money out of her retirement or something like that, and that is her choice. But she should not be trying to dictate how other people are spending their money.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for her, okay, because like weddings are already stressful enough without having the added stress of like the venue falling through, right? And that can certainly be a really frustrating and upsetting experience. And I understand why she would ask OP this, and I don't think that she was wrong for even asking, right? Where I think that things are kind of going awry here is that that people should be respecting OP's answer and allowing them to say, well, we can't really afford to do that, right? So I don't think anyone was wrong for asking. I think the guilt afterwards and trying to say, well, you're being a bad person for not helping us out, that's where things kind of fall apart for me and feels like, the other family members are being unreasonable here. Again, like, just because somebody is sitting on thousands of dollars doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't work hard for that money and that they aren't deserving of putting that money aside. And again, like, if they're putting it aside for an emergency, that's a wedding falling through with the venue isn't necessarily an emergency, right?
Well, that's the thing. At the end of the day, a wedding is in a lot of ways a big party. And yeah, like you said, like, it's disappointing when the venue doesn't fall through, but you could have a beautiful wedding at a public park. Like, we got married at a public park, and like, it thanks to COVID, our original venue did fall through. But I honestly like really loved the wedding that we ended up having, and I thought it was perfect for us.
Yeah.
And so, I think maybe if the sister can take a few steps back and like think about what the purpose is for this. Does she want something that's picture perfect but stressful, or would she rather just let things go a little bit, go with the flow, find somewhere affordable to get married at, and focus on that she's getting to marry her favorite person in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people unfortunately have a little bit of an unhealthy view of weddings at a certain point. Like, it shouldn't be about how much money you've spent on it. And while it is nice to have nice photos and nice everything else to go along with it, that's not the point at the end of the day. The point is that you're, getting together with friends and family to celebrate love, right? And celebrate, spending time with this person for the rest of your life. Not how much money did we spend or any of those other things, right?
Right. And things are going to go wrong. Like, there's basically pretty much no wedding that goes off completely without a hitch. So the more you're able to like let go of expectations, like if things turn out better than expected, like then it's like a boon and you remember it. But if you keep your expectations relatively low and don't and just focus on, at the end of the day, I'm going to be marrying the person I love, then those little things will be easier to, or even big things will be easier to kind of like just let go of.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the zombie chew on the book?
Oh, that's right. All of these are probably going to be zombie ones because it's like zombie month. Oh,
it is zombie month. I could have made them all zombie jokes, but I spared you.
Oh, I see. Well, I can tell you why the zombie chewed on the book is because the zombie was inside of the book and it was trying to get out of the book because it's a pure fantasy construct. And so that's why the zombie was chewing on the book.
They had a hankering for a spine.
Ooh, very nice. I like it.
Today is Make a Book Day.
So go find a book that you can make and hope that zombies don't crawl out of it.
And it's also Reward Yourself Day.
Oh, and also reward yourself by making a zombie book.
I mean, that is one way to treat yourself.
Yes. Treat yourself with the respect of having a zombie gnaw on your arm.
Well, no, like, that's not real zombies in the book. Like you said, that they are just constructs. They're not real.
And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, terrific Thursday, Friday, Junior's Eve.
Friday, Junior?
Friday, Junior.
You were trying so hard to save it.
So hard. So hard. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on with the weddings.
When it comes to weddings, if it's a small thing like your bride-to-be's makeup choices, just let it go.
Yeah. And if it's a big thing, like your dad wants to officiate your wedding, but he's a giant mean old jerk.
That's a good thing to hold. Like, there are good boundaries to set when it comes to weddings. That's a great one. But don't focus on the small things. Save your ire for the big things, like your dad trying to run the show.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.